So let's talk about the Clermont County Animal Shelter. Kiarah Swartz came in as the manager or administrator of the animal shelter on or about March 31st. The shelter has been a complete disaster across really two operators of the shelter, two private operators who were both radically underfunded and realized that they did not have the possibility of a good faith relationship with the county. Then the shelter was taken over by Diamond David Painter and the Painterettes. And since then, it has been nothing but a train wreck. So Kiarah Swartz comes in on March 31st into the shelter. I got a copy of her hiring packet wondering, did this woman negotiate anything about autonomy, about authority, about her having any real capability? And the answer to that question is no, she did not. Apparently, all of the news stories, all of the angst, all of that about the shelter, and all of the history of bad faith relationships did not cause her to try to negotiate anything in her agreement that would make sure that she had authority and autonomy. In addition, I did some investigating, and she never reached out to any prior operator about the situation at the shelter. So Kiarah comes in. And then on May 31st, I encountered her at a pet adoption event. She briefly talked with me. She said she would do a deeper interview, and then Diamond Dave Painter and the Painterettes apparently put the kibosh on it. So I have not talked with her since. But on June 18th, she did a update, which I will call pure propaganda about the shelter at the commissioner meeting. It was a typical David Painter and the Painterettes yuck it up, laugh, and don't address any of the real issues. I'm going to play a sped up version of her talking at the commissioner meeting. It'll be at about 1.5 speed, so you'll have to adjust your ears to hear it, but you can go watch the whole thing in real time in the commissioner meeting video on YouTube. Before I get into that, though, I want to hit on what are the key things that I have raised that are issues related to the shelter. I'm going to do them kind of in reverse order the way I've presented them. I'll call them my big seven. So one is cat exits. We don't have cats anymore. Both private prior operators handled cats. In the last year of the Cincinnati Clermont Cares prior operator, about over 1,000 cats exited out of the shelter. Personnel, when the county did the completely disingenuous bad faith RFP, basically as an election ploy related to David Painter, it came to light that there were only 11 personnel at the shelter when there was a slated headcount of 21, which is 48% less personnel. So cats, personnel, those are two of the top seven things. Fundraising. So fundraising, in the last year of the private operator, they raised almost $1 million. In the David Painter era, they raised $36,000 in 1 year, 96% reduction in fundraising. Tax dollar spending, because they don't do any fundraising, because they had wrongly assumed that they could run the shelter cheaper than the private operator said was needed. The county now ends up spending multiples more now than it did under the private operator with less than half the staff in place. So that is another of my top seven things. That is number 4 on the list. Dog exits. So dog exits, a 41% reduction in dog exits under David Painter's regime versus the last year of the prior operator. Dog intake, a 24% reduction from the private operator to David Painter. And then finally, the shelter itself has a 38% reduction in hours it is open under David Painter and the Painterette regime versus what it was before. So those are 7 things. The number of hours, I'm going to do them in the opposite order. Number of hours, dog intake, dog exits, spending, fundraising, personnel, and cats. Okay. So that's 7 things. All of those 7 things, the shelter's a mess on. Okay. It's been a mess on. And those are 7 key performance indicators that we should care about that are actually improving or getting better or being addressed. I could throw in 2 others because you're going to hear it in this video as having adoption events. Okay. and the volunteers, having more volunteers. So those two things, I'll add those, and that would take us up to 9 things. Okay, I'm only adding those because those things, I think those are important, but they're not in the top 7 remotely. And I'm adding them because they get talked about in this video. So on June 18th, Kiarah Swartz, a huge, really an embarrassing thing. She should be embarrassed to participate in this kind of bullshit propaganda stuff, where it's kind of like pablum, where she's not actually addressing real issues like fundraising, like hours open, like cats. She's probably not allowed to. She probably has to have approval. She obviously can't interview or do a real interview without having prior approval. We'll see if Chelsea Sick and Local 12 come and do some bullshit interview with her at some point. But right after the commissioner meeting, they had this like dazzling press release talking about the upbeat. So just to add to the propaganda flair of the whole thing, the upbeat report, we make our own news. I'm expecting to see this reprinted without edit, without any extra value in the Clermont Sun that will come out on this Thursday, because that's what the Clermont Sun does. They are a propaganda piece. We'll see. We'll see if they run this or not as dictated by their Lord and Master, the Clermont County government, and that's a separate discussion. So what I'm going to do now is play the update that Kiarah Swartz gave. It's on 1.5 speed. You can go watch it at regular speed on YouTube on the county page, on the county YouTube page. But I wanted to speed it up just to get us through it quicker. And let's dive right in to the Kiarah Swartz propaganda clown show update, at the commissioners meeting.
Any other additions to the agenda?
No, sir. I do have a request.
Sure.
We have a canine visitor this morning.
Absolutely.
I've been told that this visitor is getting relatively restless.
I've kind of been watching her, and I really haven't seen any restlessness so far.
All I've seen is chewing on fingers.
So it's been asked of me if we can move up at least that part of our staff discussion.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's move up. Letter I, it'll be a official discussion. Kiarah Swartz, Kennel Administrator, and Darlene Williams, Kennel Supervisor, Clermont County Animal Shelter, and Shelter Update.
Thank you.
Tell us what's going on at the shelter.
So we can't do a business-like update. We got to have the props. We got to have the yucking it up beforehand. We got to have the pre-stage intro. This is what we do versus dealing with those key issues that I mentioned.
So Kiarah Swartz, again, your kennel administrator. I'm here with Darlene Williams, my kennel supervisor. Thank you for moving us up. At first, I wanted to just thank everyone, thank Clermont County for the opportunity to be a part of your program and for trusting us to do right by the dogs in Clermont County. I wanted to show you guys this. We recently received this plaque from Best Friends showing that we received no-kill status last year in 2024. I wasn't here last year, but...
So you have to appreciate, let me bump this back a little bit, that they have the plaque, okay? And as soon as they have the plaque,
do right by the dogs in Clermont
County. Got the photo guy taking the picture.
I wanted to show you guys this. We recently received
and then you
this plaque from Best
this.
Friends.
You got Eyegol. Get it up a little higher. We're trying to make propaganda here, like the
I
Ayatollah
wasn't
Khomeini.
here last year, but
higher.
I have to commend the staff for that in the year 2024.
Let's get Angie in a picture with that too, David, if we don't mind. Get that little puppy up there closer.
Got to get Angie in the picture and get the puppy up there closer, because this is what we need to focus on. Not that we don't have cats, not that we have 38% less hours, not that we're spending twice as much money as we used to of the taxpayers' money. We want a photo op. That's what these people care about. Diamond Dave and the photo ops. Never met a camera he didn't like, nor a JCPenney suit separate he didn't like.
Where to go? You want to wait till the end?
We'll wait till the end, but let's stay there, Angie. This is your show.
That's opportune that Claire Corcoran said, this is your show, and it is a show. Let's keep going.
Yes, thank you. General update. I'm going to present just some things that we have going on, and then Darlene's going to touch base on some things. Right now, our total population is 72 dogs. We have 39 in-house and 33 that are pre-adopted or in foster homes. We also have been doing adoption events this summer so far, which you guys have heard about a little bit. Our last one was last Saturday. We had 2 adoptions from that, which was great. And we have some upcoming. I did want to mention. We have... this coming weekend, we are partnering with the Clermont Park District at their summer solstice event at Shore Park. It's going to be 4 to 8 p.m. on the 21st. The 27th, Pet Suites Eastgate.
I wonder how much, I'm all for adoption events, but I wonder how much more adoption we'd have if the shelter had after work hours for people or reasonable weekend hours for people versus the hours that it has today.
1-year birthday celebration that they invited us to go to. So that will be 12 to 3 p.m. July 12th, Pet Supplies Plus in Milford will be doing another event with them from 12 to 3 p.m. And the 26th of July, Feeders Pet Supply in Eastgate will be doing an event. So we have a lot planned. Do you want to just let people know volunteers are the heart of those events? The more volunteers we have, the more dogs we're able to bring and the more chances to get dogs adopted. So I have to thank our volunteers for that. We have some great ones that have been consistently helping with the events. We are still doing our volunteer orientations, which signups will be found online, and we'll reach out to you via email if you're approved to sign up for a scheduled orientation. And we have some upcoming on the 27th of this month at 10:30 a.m. And right now, July 19th is the next one at 10 a.m. They usually last about an hour, get a tour, just some basic safety things. And we're looking to add some more volunteers to the group. And I did want to mention our entire staff is actually finishing up CPR training today, CPR, first aid, and AED training. So everybody will be certified in that after today at noon. So that's really exciting. And Darlene's going to go into some of our recent cases and the important work that her kennel staff's been doing. And she's also going to introduce the little one that she has here.
Okay, so I'm not against volunteers. I'm all for volunteers. I'm all for these events, but this is a Nothing Burger update. So Kiarah Swartz has been in charge of the shelter now for 2.5 months. 2.5 months. I gave a list off of 7 big things: hours of operation, dog intake, dog exits, taxpayer spending, fundraising, personnel and staffing, and cats. She didn't address any of those. She addressed the 2 fluffy things. Isn't wonderful? Let's hold the dog and get it closer up there and everybody smile.
Hi, good morning. I'm Darlene. I'm the kennel supervisor. So we have little Lainey here who is already pre-adopted. Sorry. She's traveling to New Jersey. So we had a hoarding case in Bethel that 38 dogs were seized and 7 ferrets was there. We could not have done it without the team that we have back at the kennel. Sorry, it makes me a little emotional. I work endlessly back there with the girls as part of our kennel techs. Just because we have a hoarding case come in, that doesn't mean that dogs stop coming in. Stray dogs still come in. We still have our numbers. So when we did have the hoarding case, there was probably like 89 dogs there. And there was a point in time that I personally did not go in the main kennels. We had to divide and conquer. And again, if it wasn't for the communication and the great team that we have back and our lovely supporter, Kiarah, as our administrator, we could not have made it work. I mean, our morale was starting to go down. We felt overwhelmed. We felt defeated. But at the same time, we realized what the purpose was. And the purpose was to get dogs moving. We did work with many rescues. Like I said, all the dogs are out of there now. We could not have done it without our rescue partners that we have been working with. We established new relationships with rescues that we have never worked with before. And they, I mean, at one time, I'm sure they were there, but they're new to us. So they even actually called and asked for a favor from us. So that made us feel good. They just needed resources to help, somebody that they had come to them. And I was happy to give that to them. But I want to thank our staff and the volunteers because, they took care of me in kennels while I was stuck in the hoarding case because we didn't want to mix in case there was a disease or something that got brought in with the hoarding case. Also, with great things happening at the shelter, we do have a trainer that started with us, Cheryl Corbett. She's there. She's temperament testing, obedience training, dog testing, and safe handling, teaching us different tactics that we can to help us get the dogs moved out of there. Our main goal is to make sure that all dogs.
One of the key thing to helping get dogs moving out of there is to not have cut your hours 38%. We're having training. Let's close the shelter so we can have training on how to get dogs adopted out of the shelter.
Move as fast as they can out of the shelter. And then we also had Clermont Animal Hospital come on June the 6th. They came, their whole team came there. They shut down Clermont Hospital and they came to us on Friday and they updated all the rabies for the dogs that were able to be updated. They did all the shots. And that's very nice that they did that because it's a next step that we didn't have to do to get the dogs out the door. So it was done all that day. They also gave baths and we got a volunteer out of that. So one of the doctors, she became a volunteer. So she's there working with us now 2 ways. So
Look at the ears on that dog. It just cracks me up.
Hey, let's not worry about anything important. Look at the ears on that dog. That's Grandma Bonnie, the Joe Biden of the commissioners. Look at the ears on the dog. I got distracted by watching the ears.
Uh-oh. She heard your voice.
That's basically everything. Again, just thanks to everyone. The staff's been working really hard. Lots of great communication. Still going above and beyond the basics of the job while they handle and juggle every other thing that could be thrown at us. And, vet partners, rescue partners, volunteers, anybody that's supporting us, we see it and we just appreciate it. That's all.
Thank you.
So now let's see if any of our esteemed commissioners, Diamond Dave and the Painterettes, ask a single deep question about anything that I've brought up. For example, hours of operation, dog intake, dog exits, taxpayer fund spending, fundraising, personnel, or cats. Okay, let's see if what they bring up.
Tell what kind of puppy this is.
So
Oh,
ladies
what
Chinese
kind of
crested.
puppy is that?
Majority
Look at the ears are so cute. What kind of puppy is that?
of dogs from the recent hoarding case were Chinese cresteds. Had a couple Chihuahuas in there, a couple Labs in there, but majority were these.
Look, can you show her?
Yeah, I think there were, what was it, 8 or 12? How many puppies were there?
There was 13 puppies.
13 puppies were removed. The youngest one I think was 4 or 5 weeks old, and we had some adoptions from all over the place. A couple people I think from Pennsylvania, Northern Ohio. This one's New Jersey. So
Kentucky.
yeah, Kentucky. But it's Chinese crested. The hair will not grow. So if you guys aren't familiar with those, they are hairless dogs. So
And they get cold.
they get cold easily. So that's why blanket, sweater, all the things.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything that you guys do. Would you
for-
take a picture with us?
Yes, thank you for allowing us to present an update.
Commissioner
Thanks for
Painter,
No questions, but we need a picture. Everybody, let's get our picture. David Painter, you need a picture. I just got this new suit separate, and I'm ready to go. Let's get the
you
picture.
told me that was a pit bull.
It is pit bull. Chinese crested pit bull.
Yeah.
So, I busted him before the meeting started carrying that dog around like it was a baby. So you saw his pickle, but I think he loved it.
They're all pit bulls.
I think he loved it. I think he wants to adopt one.
I would say.
Is this fine?
Not that one.
What was what?
This is your government. These are the people that are running your government. It's all about photo ops. They don't have any real questions. It's all about creating an illusion. And that's what this is right now, an illusion. Because what has really improved? I would like to ask Kiarah about her plans. I want to give her full opportunity to get at what are the key things that need to be done to get the shelter on track. And it's not just putting a person in there to stand and take some photo ops or deal with one particular hoarding situation.
Oh my goodness, I think.
I know. I think Peter's gonna adopt a few dogs.
New Jersey.
So, hey.
Okay, so there you have it. There you have it. So let's go back and look at, by the way, we got the dazzling press release, how awesome everything is now. How awesome everything is now. But let's run through now top to bottom, the 7 things that I've brought up. The shelter today under Diamond Dave has 38% less open hours than it did under the last private operator, Clermont Cares. What are we doing about that? What are we doing about that, Kiarah? Is there a plan? Or do we want to make sure everybody can see the cute dog ears? Second thing, dog intake. So under David Painter for 2024, the intake was down 24% on dogs alone compared to the last year of the private operator, Clermont Cares. Okay, what are we doing about that? What are we doing about that? Third thing, dog exits. Dog exits were down 41% in 2024 versus the last year of the private operator, Clermont Cares. What are we doing about that? What are we doing about that? I know we're having adoption events. That's 2 dogs a week. What are we doing bigger picture? Maybe this connects to hours that were open. Tax dollar spending. Okay. So the past 2 private operators have both told the commissioners that they needed more money to operate the shelter. Diamond Dave said, absolutely not. We can do it cheaper than you. And now has ended up spending more than twice as much money, taxpayer money. I think it's more like 3.5 times more. I think they bury a lot of stuff and hide it. And by the way, they have less than half the staff. That at the end of 24, they had less than half the staff of what the private operator had in their last year. So tax dollar spending, that should be something we care about, right? That should be something we care about. What are we doing about that? Fundraising. So I, honest to God, think that David Painter did not consider that by taking the shelter and making it a government facility, that people wouldn't give money. And when they have given money, it's been a complete train wreck. I still don't know what the deal is with I don't know what the deal is with the dishwashing machine, stuff like that. A 96% reduction in fundraising. So this is why the cost, today the county spends way more money, taxpayer money, and it's probably close at this point because they're spending so much more money than they keep increasing the amount of money they're spending. But for many years, The county was spending way more money than it used to, but less money was getting spent on the animals because they had lost $1 million of fundraising per year. What are we doing about this? What's Kiarah doing about this? That's not it. By the way, I don't believe it's even mentioned in her hiring packet about fundraising. Personnel. So there were a 48% reduction in personnel from the 2024 Diamond Dave versus the last operator, Clermont Cares. What are we doing about this? What are we doing about this? And then finally, cats. Word on the street is David Painter personally hates cats, and therefore that's why cats are verboten. And neither Bonnie or Claire would dare challenge David Painter on something like this. But what are we doing about this? What are we doing about this? So there you have it. There was a rundown, a shelter update. So a literal dog, not a pony, but dog and pony show before the commissioners on September 18th, 2.5 months into Kiarah Swartz tenure, and no substantive update. No substantive update on intakes, exits, strategies for hours, strategies for fundraising, strategies for taxpayer. But good news, Bonnie liked the cute dog's ears. The ears were so cute, and it was a beautiful photo op, and that's all that matters. So I think if you would go back and look at the first couple of reports when Clermont Cares took over the shelter, from Clermont to the Rescue, you would have these like a little bit dog and pony shows too. And then it didn't take that long for there to be a realization that we're not actually going to address any of the strategic things that matter to really improve the shelter and get it straightened out. So I wish Kiarah luck with this. I wish that she would have autonomy and authority. She doesn't even have the autonomy and authority to have a discussion about these items, a professional, mature, adult discussion. She has to do the little dog and pony shows for the commissioners. Bring in one, make sure the dog has cute ears so Bonnie can love the cute ears on the dog. So it's very, to me, it continues to be sad. I continue to think that too many people just think that, oh, well, this will fix it. And it's not going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. It's going to spackle it over for a little while. And then the rude awakening will come that we have not really fixed the substantive problems. Now, when one of these substantive issues gets addressed, let's say expanding the hours, starting to provide dog intake and exit reports that show a continuous improvement, reducing the taxpayer portion of spending, increasing the fundraising, getting personnel in line with first off, I don't know that their org chart's right for what they need, but getting it in line. And then finally, getting cats, a strategy for cats. When I see any of those, any real progress on any of those things, I'll be the first one to celebrate that progress. And the easiest one, I think, would be the hours. But I don't know that these things are even allowed. I think Kiarah is basically a figurehead, and she'll realize that. And she'll realize the foolishness, I think, of not having negotiated in her employment agreement that she would have autonomy and authority. She's going to end up, I think, unfortunately, she seems like a nice person. I think she'll end up being a lackey to the